How you chill as hard as you can to go back for you, man. You need less than
This is how I chill as hard as I can and provide myself. I just show. My camera's already recording. Already have my friend. It's good. It's on top of everyone's head. And you zoom in right now.
That's my dad? No. If anything, it's very, very, very odd.
Well, that's kind of why.
You're wondering, huh?
Yeah.
Listen, I get my insurance from somewhere. Just trying to see.
Do you want to go with him?
One day I'll understand. I don't think it's ever possible for that to happen. Like having an example like that.
Guys, go.
Sit. Yeah.
Will you go next to Mano on the table? Well, they can't see you. Come next to Mano on the table. They're outside watching the show.
It's good entertainment.
Look at the man right in the mirror. No, Willie, stay there. Stay there. Stay next to Mano. To the front. Look at the man right in the mirror.
Look at me, everyone. Look at me. Sit next. I want to sit next to each other. You want some of that? Thank you. You know what happened? I was looking up. This arm. No. Yeah. That's for the doctor tomorrow morning. He's gonna. It's like it's a special child. Fix the bone and muscle. He said it's not gonna hurt. Looks like you figured it out. Why are you picking how big this is? It's good. Well, yeah, great job. Morty, right first? Back first? Okay. Whatever you want. Heshi, you're up. Oh, Marty. You. Where are you? The guys were here a minute ago. I don't know what happened. Great job. Just like you practiced.
Morty, you're taking off the picture?
Just for a second. Not stop talking about this guy. Serious? I'm going to do maybe better. Did he give you a name? No. Yeah. Secure like 5, 6 lessons. Go live this year.
That's like another letter.
You can do a whole tear. What? Go ahead. Mendy, you're up. First, my older brother. Mendy, and then down right. My older brother.
Hey, I'm all. Yummy. I saw you.
Still hurts.
Hey, Mikey! You got the
Boys. Maybe it should be by the what's it called? By the
little higher. Like if someone's dead down, then it's on the. We'll look at this. Morty, what about with this? You want it to be behind by the video? Yeah, that's good.
This is gonna move.
No, don't put it higher because then you can't see it on the rock.
Lower.
No.
The bottom of the sun should be basically. No, but then we're later. Move it again. We're moving it now. Move it again.
Pull tight. Higher, pull it tight. Yeah, that's good. Right there. Perfect. Yeah.
I think it'll turn off that video for
But I Guys in the background here.
Ladder? No, the ladder shoes. But it is you through those doors over there. It's going to take a minute for that projector to turn on. You're welcome. You said first the Shloshim video?
Press one.
Whatever.
Look at me at the camera. Look at me at the camera.
writing letters and say ready yet? We'll have the next 20 minutes. Right here.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Gary and Faye. Hi, Gary and Faye.
Are you charging this camera? It's that way now, okay?
Gabby and Faye, how are you? Mendy told me to tell you this. I think there's someone.
Every Saturday when they change the class. This year, only one. I used to go to the after Pesach it works very well. Move the sign, by the way. Question number 5. 1, 2, 3. It's the train. Guess what you have? Noon and you. It's been good, huh?
It's alive or just projecting?
Up here?
Yeah.
So with the mic and then drop down these things. And keep it on this. Done? 8 o'clock.
Kindly find your seats. We're going to be starting the program.
Put you on the mic, and put one assistant on the mic. That's fine. Both of you.
I'm just sitting on JD and I'll call you up so that you see the crowd when you're ready, okay? Kindly find your seats. We're going to start the program. There's plenty of seats up here. Please take your food and you can sit down with you. On behalf of Shneur's wife, Devarlea, the children, Shneur's children, Mendel, David, Label, Yisrael, Shalom, and Levi, and on behalf of my parents, Losan Gesund, my father, my mother, and my siblings, Chana Etka, Nechamadina, Devaralea, Morty, Chaya, and Shana. I thank you all for coming this evening to celebrate my brother Shneur. We're celebrating his life, and we're celebrating with him together now. It's just like Shneur to be in the background somewhere, sitting there quietly and enjoying the event. Shneur's life and his legacy continues with us daily. But there's so much to talk about, and words cannot describe the feelings of our heart. What a special brother I was zeichet to have. I know each one of you are thinking the same, whether it's husband, father, brother, son, relative, or friend. Shneur was just somebody that everybody has something to say, and they're all right. He had special character, and we will hear tonight a little bit about my brother. But we know that it's not just something that is past. The Rebbe has told us that v'hachai yitin elibai is important that we, the living, celebrate the life daily in our actions. And I'm hoping that everybody tonight will hear a little bit about Shneur, hear about his character, and take something with them, a commitment in honor of Shneur going forward. Over the past few weeks, during Shiva and beyond, the family, myself, have received thousands of warm wishes from many of you and others. Emails, texts, phone calls, and in person. And we appreciate it very much. To know how Shneur was important to you in your life, to know how Shneur was important to all of us in such a special way. The list of ways that Shneur celebrated his life is so long that I couldn't do any justice to talk about Shneur in just a few minutes. So as to decide who should be MC tonight, I thought, who would Shneur ask to be MC? And the truth of the matter is, I don't know the answer. But over the past 2 years, while Shneur was less than 2 years, when Shneur was fighting his illness, I had the schus to be by his side, to be called his person by Shneur with all his medical needs. As a brother, I could not have had a better 2 years of a relationship with Shneur. I miss him dearly. He's in my heart every day. And I'm sure I'm just sharing some of the sentiments that are felt in this room tonight. We're going to start with calling upon Shneur's son, David Mordechai, to come and say Kapitel Chaf with us today.
למה נצח מזמור לדוד, יענך אדוני ביום צרה, ישגבך שם אל יעקב. ישלח עזרך מקדש, מתהיה צדקה, יזכר כל מנעשיך, ועלך ידש נסלה. ייתן לך חבבך וחלצך, ימלא נרננה, בישועתך ושם עלינו. נתגלה ימלא אדוני כל משעשיך. עתה ידעתי כי אשיע אדוני משיחי, יענהו מקדשי, בגבורת ישעמנו. אליו רחב ואליו עשיתם, ואנחנו בשם אדוני אלינו נזכר. הם עקר ונפלו ואנחנו קמנו ונסעדת, נאשי המלך יעננו וימכרנו.
If any of you have Tehillim, I'm going to call up my brother-in-law Chanoich Kagan to come and lead us with Shneur's Kapitel Mem.
למנצח לדוד מזמור, קווה כביסי אדינוי, ויית אלי וישמע שבוסתי. ואני ביבי אין אדינוי יחשב לי, אז רוסי מפלתי עתה, להי אל תאחר.
I'm going to call upon Rabbi Levi Azimov, Chabad of South Brunswick, New Jersey, and the Chabad Shliach at Madway, if I'm not mistaken, to lead us in Ois Aleph of the Rebbe's Kapitel.
אשרי סמימי דורך, ההלכים בסרח סדינוי, אשרינו יצרי דויסו, בכלי בדרשו, אף לא יפועלו אף לא בדרוכו ולוכו, אל תציבי סופי קודךו לשמר מועד, אחר אלי יקוינו דרוכו לשמר חוקךו, עוז לבש בביטס כל מצווסךו, אל כל מצווסךו, אתכו ביה של לבו, ולא מדי משפטי צדקךו, אס חוקךו אשמר, אל תעזבני עד מועד.
So we want to make sure this event is Torah Tefillah and Tzedakah. So we just had the Tefillah. We're going to have the Siyum HaMishnayos. For all those that learned Mishnayos, Le'ili Nishmas, Shneur Zalman, during the Shloshim, we're going to have the Torah, and then we're going to ask everybody to give Tzedakah in Shneur's memory as well. I would like to call upon my brother-in-law, Rabbi Yechanan Marazov, to honor us with the Siyum HaMishnayos.
We have like a herd immunity. I'm not talking about COVID-19. The Mishnah finishes about Shalom. Shalom, Shalom, you hear all. Pass the buck, it's for someone else. The virtue of Shalom is very good. It's for someone else. Shalom bias, community, these things are so good. But they're cliche and Mekenshin et and Shalom. So when you get to the Siyam Hashas, it almost sounds like the same things. But that's not what the words are saying. It's not talking about the virtue of Shalom. If you were walking in the street, imagine, and you found a pile of $100 bills. You stick it into one pocket, the other pocket, and it's windy, and the dollar bills are flying in the air. Jalke. It's a good word. What a shame. If I had a plastic bag, I'd put them in the bag. Someone's pouring honey. Give me 100 pounds of honey. But I have a cup that's 1 ounce, a kelichke, 1 ounce of honey. Sometimes we come back from the oil, from the Tzion HaKodesh. There's a lot of brachas in our life, but it doesn't stick because we don't have the keli. We don't have the keli to hold on to it. Zok the Mishnah, if you want to know what's a good keli to hold on to the bracha, and sometimes we're showered with brachas, but we needed to translate money in the bank, begashmis, beruchnis. So where is the kli? Loi motza kodesh baruch hu kli amachzik brach li yisrael ela shalom shenem Hashem oizlam yitan Hashem yivarach sama v'shalom. This is the kli that holds the bracha. There's a siyum from the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe Marash says that the haschol and the end of Shas is with a mem. Me'emasei koidim, and the end is shalom. There's a mem and a shloshim. The Tosis Yom Tov says the same, but the Rebbe Marash is adding that it's a mem and a shloshim. What's so special about a mem and a shloshim? Double mem. We're doing tonight a double siyum. It's a double siyum because so many people took the Mishnayos that there's a double siyum. Zok the Rebbe that the open mem is asher heim prutzim, like it says in Nehemiah, that when it's opened, a heart that's broken. When time you get to the end of the Shas, Chazal say that there's ruach tzvainis, that's eine mesubebes. The world is not complete, but when Mashiach will come, the Eibishter will heal the heart, will heal our heart, and it will be a mem sasum, not a mem pasuach. The world will be closed, and the Eibishter will heal our heart. That's the difference. In the beginning of Shas, it's an open mem. At the end of Shas, it's a closed mem. The Gemara also says that there's mem sasum, mem pasuach. The Rebbe says that that's Nigla and Nister. Shneur, Nigla and Nister, that's the two mems. There's a maimer from the Rebbe Shuvi Yisrael Tov Lamed Zayin. It's a Mugedike maimer. There's 2 maimorim. That's the first of the 2 maimorim. And the Rebbe talks about Mesiras Nefesh. The Rebbe asks, B'chol nafshecha, afilu noitelas nafshecha. If a Yid is willing, he loves the Eibishter, he's giving his life away for the Eibishter. You'll kiss the cross, or the sword will kiss you. The Yid dies. Once he dies, how can he have B'chol me'odecha? The person already is nifter al kiddush Hashem. B'chol nafshecha, what's left for B'chol me'odecha? So the Rebbe says that B'chol nafshecha means the Yid is willing to sacrifice his life. Yid makes small or big sacrifices in life for the Eibishter, because I love Hashem Yisborach. B'chol me'odecha is like the Alter Rebbe says, a Yid nit will, nit can, sein obgerissen vom Eibishten. A Yid, it's not that I want. I am willing to give from myself. I can't do otherwise. It's mitzvah, the Eibishter that's in me. And that's the higher level. There's 2 levels in the Mem and Mesiras Nefesh and Moedecha, and that's the higher level. We've agreed together, Shneur Zalman and I, we learned last year Tov Shin Lamed Beis. And this year we were going to learn Tov Shin Lamed Zayin. And we were learning in the night of Chof Vov Tishrei, we were learning this Maimer, and we came to this Nakuda. Shneur took his last breath, the Rebbeinu Shalom took his neshama up to heaven. And this is mamish. When we were learning at this Nakuda, we were holding this part of the Maimer. About B'chol me'odecha is not that the Yid is willing. The Eibishter takes it. You know that there's a story of the Munket Sharuv went to Eretz Yisrael. He wanted to meet Reb Shloimer, the Chacham Alefandri. He was 107 years old at that time. His whole life he wanted to meet him. And then he finally met him. When he came to meet him, he passed away. So he told the Chacham Alefandri, maybe you would like to make a shahakal, a little bit of milk. He was about to pass away. He said, because I have a Kabbalah, that you make a shahakal, but you don't make a bird on the foshes. So Mashiach will come, you'll make a bird on the foshes. And they say, Rabbi Gansburg said that the Rebbe wanted to know what happened with the Rebbetzin. Was a lad, the Rebbe, he didn't know what, and he said it, but she made a shahakal, she drank, and the Rebbe was happy to hear that. So with Shneur, there is 2 Maimorim. We started the first Maimer, and we're holding the middle of the Maimer. So Mitzvah Hashem, we hope to finish the Maimer in Mitzvah Hashem very soon. Bevias Mashiach Tzidkenu. The Rebbe told a story once about the Divrei Chaim. The Divrei Chaim was a brilliant child. So at night, he slept 3 hours. He'd get back up to learning. So his mother said, Chaimke, you have to sleep a little more. So he said to his mother that they say I'm a child prodigy. I'm brilliant. What's up, I'm brilliant? Someone would take him 9 hours to learn a sugya. I could learn it in 3 hours. It takes someone else 9 hours to sleep. I could sleep in 3 hours. So some people have a triple mem, some have a double mem. Some people gemuris shmoinim shana. And Shneur is in capital mem. Shneur is a capital mem. Shneur didn't waste any time, and he accomplished in a short time a lot. So the Rebbe always said, "V'chayit na liboy," to 2 things about Shneur, which is one, that the idea of Sholem, the way he raised his children, him and his wife, the way they're raising their children, and b'chlal, their holach yelach, is one thing that we could take with us from Shneur. And the other thing is b'chol me'odecha, to give b'chol me'odecha. The Eibush shall helfen that the Eibush should take that the mem pasuach, which is the broken heart that we have, and to heal it, it should be a mem sosum, and the mitzvah Hashem, we should be finishing the maimer together with Shneur, mepiv shel Mashiach tzidkenu. Let me finish the words again in the Mishnah. Amar Reb Shimon Machalafta, Lo Ma'atza Kadosh Baruch Hu Kli Machzek Baruch Yisrael Shalom Shenemar Adonai Oizlam Yiten Adonai Yivorech Sameh Vashalom.
Call Mendel Hirsch, Shneur's oldest son, David Hirsch, Label, Yisrael, come all up, Shalom, whoever, all the children could come up to say Kaddish. Stand this way, stand towards me. Go ahead.
ויצפח וקדי וקר ושיחי חיי חיידר ובחיידר וחיי חופש ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב מאמן יש רבר פרח לעולם שטבח ויסבר ויסרמן ויסנסה ויסעדר ויסלם וסלוש מדקה שבריחו לילה מן קבר חסה ושירסת תשבחסה ונחמסה דמים ואהבה ומרמן יש למה רבה מן שמיים וחיים טובים לנבוא ישראל ברמאמן עשה שלום ומייבב הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ברמאמן
Amen. Trying to think about Shneur, the things he stood for. Shneur was a pillar. He was a pillar in many different ways. But his first pillar was his family. His first pillar was his wife, Devorah Leah, and his 6 beautiful children. 6 beautiful boys. I remember when we talked about his boys while he was getting chemo, Mendel, David, Label, Yisrael, Shalom, and Levi. It would give him so much chayas. He would liven up. Shneur was a different person when he spoke about his family, when he spoke about Devorah Leah. So I wrote down something Shneur told me. So it wasn't easy, the year and a half plus, almost 2 years that we spent battling this illness was not easy. But Shneur expressed to me many a times how his wife, Devorah Leah, was giving him so much strength. I don't know where I would be without Devorah Leah. Her steadfast bitachon, unwavering support, and devotion to their children is what Shneur appreciated so much. He said it to me over and over and over again. Devorah Leah, you were a support for Shneur. You were his rock. I have not seen two people with more bitachon in their lives than Shneur and yourself. The bitachon that Hashem is in charge and everything will be good till the very last minute. There wasn't one day that Shneur gave up or Shneur said, this is going to be it. At the very last day, Shneur said, Emir Hashem, we will be dancing together. We will be dancing together. He was looking forward to his children's bar mitzvahs, and we used to laugh how we'll dance at 6 bar mitzvahs and 6 weddings. Emir Hashem. Shneur's bitachon was not just his. The strength came from his Eshes Chayil, Devorah Leah. His family was his number one reason for everything in life, and that is his first pillar. So we're going to start with Shneur, with his first pillar, which is his family. And we're going to call upon his son, Label, who's going to share with us a few words about his tati.
Hi, my name is Label Hirsch. I'm so glad to be a son of my tati. He always spoke to everyone in a kind and gentle way, and he gave a lot of tzedakah and cared about everyone. He always had Aknesas Archem. He was a good friend to everyone. He was also a Talmud Chacham and loved to learn Torah and Chassidus. He is the best tati in the whole world, and I will always learn from him how to be a Chassid Yerushalayim Edilamdim.
Now I'll call upon my father, Levin to Lange to say a few words.
To begin with, a Maisa. Shneur loved, as a bacha, before he was even married, he loved very, very much going on Merker Shlichus every single summer, from Rosh Chodesh Menachem Av until Chof Av. One year he went to the Virgin Islands with a chava, and they were told that there is one person who will take him around to everybody in the Virgin Islands, every Yid who's in the Virgin Islands, to put on tefillin. However, don't ask him to put on tefillin. because he never put on tefillin, he will not. And sure enough, in 2 weeks, he went and he took him around to most of the people. After 2 weeks, he looked pretty bad. And Shneur asked him, "Why do you look bad? What's the matter?" He said, "I have a marina that's worth several $1 million. And it's been up for sale for over a year, and nobody has inquired. It's a profitable marina, and nobody really inquired, and we really want to sell it by now." So Shneur said, "I go to a building in Manhattan every single Friday to put on tefillin on the Yidden in this building. And I encountered one attorney who refused to put on tefillin. Every week I would give him a l'chaim, but he never put on tefillin. And every Shabbos he used to come home and tell us how many tefillin he did on that building that week, how many people put on tefillin. But this person never put on tefillin. And once he saw him, and he wasn't looking too good, and he said, "Why, what's the matter?" So he said, "I'll tell you, I live on retainers. And for the last couple of months, I haven't received any retainer for the last 6 weeks or so. And I'm eating up my savings." So Shneur said, "How about testing God? Put on tefillin and tell God you want results. Test God. You're at rock bottom right now. You have nothing to lose." So he said, "Okay, Rabbi, I'll do it." And he put on tefillin. The next week when Shneur went back, he said, "Rabbi, God came through. I got a couple of retainers this week." So Shneur told this fellow from the Virgin Islands, "Why don't you test God? Put on tefillin and let's see. You've waited a year. Let's see what happens." And sure enough, he said, "Rabbi, you convinced me. I'll do it for the Ois Karkafta." The first time in his life he put on tefillin. And sure enough, a few days later, Shneur encountered him, and he said, "Rabbi, God came through. A firm from Japan contacted us that they want the information. They want our attorney's information." And he said, "I'll put on tefillin again." I want, at this point, Hakara Satayv, firstly to Eishes Chayla Teres Baila Dvoraleah for holding Shneur's hand every single day of all these years, and particularly the last 2 years. And she was his strength. And Bubby, Mommy, and Elta Bubby, Hirsch, who took care of Shneur for 39 years. And she nurtured him for 39 years. Particularly these last 2 years, Mommy would make an organic chicken soup every single week and bring it over to Shneur. And Dvoraleah would feed it to him. Yosef Yitzchak, who was Shneur's partner for the past 2 years, and he was consulting with all of the medical professionals, and he acquired a tremendous amount of knowledge, and he was guiding Shneur. The medical professionals would speak with him, and he provided the guidance. and Mordechai, who was his partner as well. And Mordechai would assist Shneur, Yosef Yitzchak, in helping Shneur. And Mordechai and Bailey for taking care of the children, which they still do ad hayom hazeh. They take care of the children. They take them home for Shabbos. And Nechami for helping, Nechami and Shui for assisting as well. Chana Edgar and Chanoch. And Chaya and Yossi and Shane and Folek as well. And to the Malachim, the Gitlins who came over a month ago from Toronto, and they've been here helping Shneur and assisting with all the children. Malach HaElyon. And all the Gitlin children that assisted with the children. And the Eibishter zal al benchen mit Chaya, Bana, Mezona, Vakol Bervicha, Ad Kitsu Varanenu Shecher Ofa, V'Shnei B'Seichem, V'Zgalas Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, Gula Shlema. Take off Miyad Mamish.
Thank you, Tati. So that's a new one, labeling the Gitlins as angels. But limiting the angels to just 30 days is limiting. Because I could tell you the rest of the story. From the day Shneur met Verleah, he had another mother and father that he appreciated, loved, cherished in such an unbelievable way. They did not treat him like a son-in-law. He was their son. He was their son every day since the Verleah met him. It was so unbelievable to see that any time I needed, I called Toronto, and Mrs. Gitlin was on a flight to New York. Within hours, if not days, whatever is needed, I'm there. They asked Shneur, do we want us to come more often? Tell us when we're here. They wanted to be here every day. They're very special people. I was zeicha to spend many hours of Shneur's birthday this year with him. I took off work and I told him, Shneur, I'm spending the day with you. And I came down and we spent a few hours in his house, going to the oil, talking to each other. I said, Shneur, we have a few hours. Do you want to go to the water or something? Do you want to go to spend some more time together somewhere? And he says, no, let's go home. Home was his safety net. Verleah was home, the kids was home. That's where he wanted to be. But during our ride, he was listening to messages that people left him for his birthday. And on came a message from his shver and his shviger. And Shneur just smiled throughout the message. And after the message was over, he says, I am so lucky to have a shver and shviger like I have. I've seen the Gitlins, shver and shviger. When you're not here, your son's family are constantly coming to the house. assisting, playing, just giving the kids a blast. The kids love the Gitlins. They love when they come by. It's been such a bracha for Shneur to have another father, another mother, many more brothers. We thought me and Morty were enough. He got a lot more when he married you, Devaralea. But what a sense of strength and support you guys were. Since the last 30 days, you've been here nonstop. But that's icing on the cake compared to what you did before. I can't express my akaras tov enough for Rabbi and Rebbetzin Gitlin. Yasher koyach. Rabbi Gitlin.
Thank you, Yossi. You left out a few other parts that I wrote for you, but that's fine. I'm going to apologize up front. You're about to see an old man break down into tears and just slobber all over the place, okay? Because that's what I do. First, I want to say, Gil, Henya. Gil, wake up. I wanted to say thank you for all the kind words you said, and I wanted to acknowledge your akaras tov and to echo those words. I'm not going to repeat them all, but I want you to know what he said. Ditto, okay? Exactly. All the people that you mentioned, from my whole heart, and as it came from yours, I feel the same. So many amazing people were involved in Shneur and Derele's and children's life. And firstly, I'm going to start off with you, Gil and Henya. Yashkoyach. You raised a beautiful son, but not only son, but sons and daughters. As you acknowledged our family, I told you. I acknowledge yours. Beautiful family, supportive, loving, caring, there for all your children in such a beautiful way. I'm going to start off by letting you know that as you look at me standing here today, I'm in full kapata, full gear. It's not because I'm the most chassidish guy in town. It's because I didn't bring a suit, because I was not intending on being here that long. Sorry. I and my wife believed, without a doubt, that Shneur was going to get better. We came here for whatever it was, for a period of time, thinking that we're going to go home shortly, seeing miracles. Open miracles, because Shneur and Derele deserved it. There was no doubt. I kind of felt that because Shneur and Derele exuberated that. They believed it, and their feeling toward that, and that belief was contagious. Remember, Shneur sent out a beautiful Dvat Torah. It rings in my head always. It was, I think, from Bishalach, but he was saying how when the Yidden were by the Yam Suf, the Eibishter tells all the 4 camps that they don't have to do anything because they can rely on Hashem. And he said, he doesn't have to do anything. You don't have to worry because we're in Hashem's hands. You don't have to do anything. We're all in God's hands, and Hashem will take care of everything, so don't worry. And I didn't. The other day I was walking with Leah. We were coming back from somewhere, and she said to me exactly that. In the beginning, there was no doubt in her mind that Shneur was going to get better. No doubt. She had complete bitachon, she had trust. And trust is something you just trust. You know, it's like the game you play where you could fall backwards and you know the person is going to catch you. You have that trust in the person. You don't believe that he could do it. You trust that he will do it. And they had complete trust that Hashem was going to heal Shneur completely, without doubt. And then she said, well, now, my next stage is Emunah. I have to have faith to know that whatever Hashem does is for a reason. He doesn't do something, it's no accident. Everything has reason, everything is Vasher, the hand of Hashem, and He doesn't give a person a challenge that they can't overcome. There's a reason for this, and have to find the strength and the way and the ability to do so. I came here definitely with the intention of clearly going back with good news. While I've been here, I have to tell you that as a child and youngster, I was raised here in Crown Heights. I had the schus to be a tishrei by the Rebbe, for Farbrengens, Simchas Torah. I used to be a little kid under the table, watching the Rebbe dance to the Torah is one of the most, all these were the most memorable parts of my life, having those opportunities, seeing those things, be a part of those things. Those Yom Tov and those events. I will never forget them. And I thought there would be nothing, there was never a holiday anywhere that could compare to those moments. Until this Simchas Torah. After that, I want to acknowledge Shneur's, the shul here, where Shneur davens with his friends, his classmates, the people of this community. What you guys did for him, for the children, for Leah. The simcha all of you brought to that home, to his life, to our lives. I cannot forget it. As long as I live, I will cherish seeing Shneur getting Chassan Torah right there in his living room, dancing with his friends around him, having his 6 sons on the shoulders of his uncles and friends, dancing in front of him, watching Shneur smile and enjoy the effort it took to schlep him up and down the steps. And everyone did it with such happiness, to the sukkah, out of the sukkah, his neighbors. I want to thank, really from my whole heart, and I know I speak for Dvelei and the children, all of you here, all his friends and all the shul and the people on his block. What a great block of people and caring. Unbelievable. And the ladies on this side, that the food, the care, Miriam coming, she was like cleaning, throwing things out, like, unbelievable. Just each and every one of you, this community. Listen, I've brought guests here for years, teenagers and families to come to the Rebbe. The hospitality and of Crown Heights is well known, but what you have all done, what I have seen, is too special. And for that, Hashem should bless each and every one of you with share only simchas and good news and good health, and please God, with all the other holy souls that are up there, should be a good Tibeter, should be a good advocate to ensure that we should only share good news and simchas together. I could stop here. My wife is saying stop here. So with that, I have pages of stuff to say, but my time is up. So know that you all love Shneur. We love Shneur. Shneur loved all of you and loved all of us. I know that, and that's the beautiful thing. To know that you're loved and to be loved back is a very beautiful and powerful thing. So, T'rei Leila, Hashem should continue to give you strength. Your emunah and your betachon is truly amazing. And you truly believe, and I think we all should, really believe as you do, and that Mashiach is coming. We'll be together with Shneur and all the other holy neshamas up there. And it's not going to be, imminent, that takes years, but mamish imminent. It's going to be very, very soon. We'll be zeicha, please God, to share the ultimate simcha of Mashiach's kingdom. Amen.
There's so many family members here. We have a wealth of things to share, and the time is short. So we're going to conclude this pillar of Shneur's life. Even though there's so much to say, we're going to conclude this part with a video that says it all.
Yeah, it comes so I can see Tati. I learned from my Tati that you should always be happy and always trust in Hashem, whatever happens. I learned from my Tati to do Avos Yisrael and to be kind to everyone, and to learn Torah, and to learn Torah and Chassidus, and do a lot of mitzvahs. He's the best Tati in the whole world ever. I can learn from my Tati so many things, like caring of every Jew and doing a lot of mitzvahs. I love Tati. I'm gonna try to be just like my Tati in all the Torah and the mitzvahs that he does, and all the kindness that he does, and everything that he does. Tati best Tati. I learned from Tati that I should have a lot of achmetzas often. Tati always gives tzedakah, and I, me too. But anyways, I'm giving a lot of tzedakah because Mashiach is coming. Mommy, same button. Tati come right back, Mommy. Mommy. We're gonna dance with Tati when Mashiach comes.
So that video was made by Mendel Hirsch. No, I don't have another brother, Mendel. If you're thinking that it seems like an adult video, that was video was made totally by Shneur's oldest son, Mendel, who's 12 years old. Let's give him a big round of applause. Shneur was a real family man, and he cared most about his children, and they care most about him. And that really says who Shneur was in a nutshell. But that was just one pillar. Shneur was full of him. His next thing was his friends. His friends meant so much to him. His shul, the one we're in now, meant so much to Shneur. When I went to Shneur in Parshas, after Parshas Nitzavim Vayelach this year, and we said the final mitzvah of the Torah is to write a Sefer Torah. And I said, Shneur, why don't you take it upon yourself to write a Sefer Torah? It's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's a big schus for Shalema. And Shneur, if anybody knew Shneur, there's no such initiative like this that's going to happen with him. He was low-key in every step of the way. He was not writing himself a Torah. He's just not doing it. So he said no. So I said, Shneur, you have two choices. Either you write it for yourself, or you'll write it, and we'll have your friends join in with you, friends and family join in with you. He said, friends and family? Then I'm willing to do that. So right then and there in the hospital room, we made up that Emir Hashem, when he goes back home and he feels better, we'll start a Haskalah Sefer Torah. Unfortunately, we did not have the time to start the Haskalah when Shneur got home. But we're starting it here today. Not Shneur's Torah alone. It's with family and friends, because that's the only way Shneur would have it. I couldn't convince him to do it on his own. But when it came to family and friends, he was always in. So looking at the crowd gathered here today, of all Shneur's friends, and lots of you that are not here physically, all over the world, Shneur was a good friend and had good friends. We know what the Mishnah says about Rabbi Yeshua, one of the sons of Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai, one of the Talmidim, how what was his attribute, that because of that is told that Ashrei Yoladita, the praised is the woman that gave birth to the son. What was his attribute, says the Mishnah? He was a chaver tov. That was Shneur, a chaver tov. And he had lots of good friends as well. So I appreciate the friends for taking this initiative and joining Shneur in writing the Sefer Torah. The Sefer Torah is emes, and the words stand forever. On today, his Shloshim, the day that Shneur's neshama goes to another level up on high, a level where some of us aren't avelim anymore, a level where the neshama goes to a higher level. We are enhancing and uplifting that neshama even higher by writing a Sefer Torah in honor of Shneur. And those words will constantly be life for Shneur's neshama. So thank you. Shneur was lucky that not only did he have lots of friends, but he also worked with his friends. He had two partners that were dear friends of his. And we're going to start by calling up his two partners, Tuvia Greisman and Moshe Melamed.
Thank you, Yossi. Talking about Shneur is very hard. Shneur was the friend I trusted, respected, and loved for so many years. We met while on Shluchas in Sydney, Australia, 2001, and immediately became close friends. We both worked in different shuls. Shneur worked at Rabbi Ullman shul in Bondi Beach, where I would join him on occasion, I would fly to Brisbane to be the rabbi where he joined me on occasion. Beginning in 2004, Shneur called me and asked if we could meet. He had an idea to discuss. We met in a pizza shop and discussed starting a business together over a slice of pizza. Trusting Shneur was easy from the start. He was a man of integrity. That was the beginning of our business partnership. From that day on, we worked hard together, never gave up, even when things weren't easy and pockets were near dry. I was fortunate to see Shneur's brilliance, vision, imaginative thinking, as well as his kind and humble demeanor. His name, Shneur, two lights, says so much about him. He was a light in the business world and a light in Torah and mitzvahs. Shneur's mission in business and everything he was involved in was all about Avodas Hashem. Shneur was fondly known as the Rav, the Mashpia, at Madway, our workplace. He made sure we have a shul with daily mincha minyan, a base medrash where one can learn Havcharusa, and that's where we hold our weekly share. He was there for family and friends. He was passionate about chinuch and gave generously to yeshivas and moistus involved in chinuch. Shneur had a heart of gold and was very generous, always giving tzedakah and always wondering who else we can help. When I visited Shneur in the hospital through his pain and suffering, we discussed about giving more tzedakah, what community project we can make an impact or get involved in. Whenever someone would come into the office or when we traveled for business around the world, he was involved. Everything was a Mivtzai moment. When we meet someone at a trade show or on the plane, first thing was, let's put on tefillin, and then we would talk business. Shneur made sure to give matzahs before Pesach to our Jewish customers. Only wanted the most mohudr mezuzahs in our office and throughout the workplace. A few years ago, I traveled with Shneur to Hanover, Germany for the Domotex annual carpet and rug trade show. We had the schus to be at the chabad of Rabbi Benny Wolf, alav hashalom. Shneur, Rabbi Benny Wolf, and myself farbrengen for many hours. For me, it's a humbling to have this schus, to have that special farbrengen with these two great people, two special neshamas, both in Gan Eden now. This is just a glimpse of Shneur and our relationship. We know what Shneur cared for. We know what Shneur stood for. It's now our mission to continue Shneur's work and legacy. Let's work hard together to bring Mashiach now so we can be reunited with Shneur and all of our loved ones.
It's told that when Talmai HaMelech wanted to translate the Torah, and he wanted to make sure that he got an accurate translation, what he did was he took the Chachamim and he put them all into separate rooms. That way he could then compare what each one of them said, and he would see if they had come up with an accurate and a truthful translation. Now in that case, the Eibishter made nisim, there were certain things they did not want to translate literally. However, in general, what you can learn from this is, if you want to see what people think about someone, and if you want to see who a person is and who a person was, if everyone who didn't prepare what they were going to say together, and they didn't sit down and say, okay, these are the points we're covering, like in a political campaign, but they're all echoing the same themes, you can be sure that it's 100% accurate and there's no embellishment at all. And if anything, there are additional things that are missing. I'm not the biggest expert on sichos, maimarim, what the Rebbe says, how we're supposed to interpret an event like this. For that, we have Rabbi Tal by now is speaking, and he's much more knowledgeable than I am, and definitely much more eloquent. But what I can talk about is I can talk about my experiences with Shneur, what I felt with Shneur, what I saw with Shneur. And there are the things that I would notice on a regular basis in the good days. They're all good days. And then there are other things that became magnified and were much more visible during the later time once he was going through treatment. In general, Shneur was always known, and everybody always saw this, and all of his friends know this. I'm not breaking any chidushim here. He was an extremely humble person. The words Hasnei Aleches definitely applied to him. Whether it was in shul or on the street, at work, he always carried himself calmly, with dignity, didn't expect anyone to give him any covet or anything like that. On the other hand, when it came to Ruchnius, when it came to the Rebbe's Mivtzayim and these things, it was entirely the opposite. There was no shyness anymore. There was no hesitation. There was no worry. Straight out the way it is. Just a small story or two. We have a sales rep who works for us. He started 5 years ago, Michael Fisher. Michael Fisher is a Yid who is still not from getting there. He started 5 years ago, and he hadn't seen much of Shneur. Shneur did most of his work out of the office. And the first time he really got to spend time with Shneur was at the trade show in Las Vegas. And over there, they sat down, they discussed furniture and designs and competitors and all the, the excitement that comes with it. At the end of this probably hour-long conversation, Shneur turns to Michael and he says, Michael, have you ever put on tefillin? He says, no. Would you like to put on tefillin? He says, yes. So they put on tefillin, not on the side of the showroom in a corner so no one's going to notice, it's not going to disturb, there's people walking around and looking at things. No. Exactly where he was. Puts on tefillin. After he puts on tefillin, Michael says like this. He says, I did not grow up from. However, I'm the youngest of 3 children. We did a little conservative, a little Hebrew school. But when I was younger, my father was still a little bit more religious, and I remember him going to shul and other things like that. And he said, right now I feel a chill going through my body, and I feel my father is looking down at me and he's smiling. So Shneur's response was obviously the only response Shneur could have said. Now you'll get many more chances to put on tefillin and make your father smile. And this story, and the many times he has put on tefillin since then, still stick with him till today. Another small story we just heard this week. We have another from Yid, Justin Lipchik, and he has a friend in Long Island who's never come to work. We never met him at work. And one day his friend calls him and he says, by the way, I'm learning Torah with your boss. He says, what do you mean? Where do you know my boss? You live in Long Island. You never even came here. He says, oh, through Yuri Dukes from JNet, we were mashed up as a chavrus and we learned together. A few months ago, Justin was speaking to his friend, and he says, Shneur is going through treatment. He's not doing so well. His friend says, it can't be. He says, why not? His friend says, just a few months ago, Shneur reached out to me, and he said, we've been learning in the past. We need to start learning again because Yuri Dukes is not well. He's in the hospital, and he needs a refuah shlema, and he needs arz chosim, and therefore we have to start learning again. That was all Shneur was worried about. Recently, in the more recent months, other things became more magnified, and I was able to notice things that maybe I hadn't paid as much attention to before. When you're in day-to-day and you're back and forth and things you see all the time, you don't necessarily pay that much attention and really think about that much. One thing I clearly saw is that Shneur never wanted to bother anyone. There was no sense of entitlement. He never felt he deserved anything. He never felt people should be there to help him. He never felt, people should inconvenience themselves for him. No matter how much people asked, he really, really, really never wanted to take anything from anyone. He never felt that after all he had done for other people over all the years, that anyone owed him anything. The other thing that was really amazing is his unflinching positivity. I don't think I've ever seen anyone like this. Just a small little story that happened. Simchas Torah by night, after we did Akafis in the dining room and on the staircase, I went up with Noach Weinstein. We sat there next to Shneur. We sang Nigunim together. We farbrang together a little bit. And it was what they call a moment. And in the middle, I broke down a little bit. I started crying a little bit. And Shneur turned to me, and all he said was, "Was weinst du? What are you crying for?" To Shneur, it wasn't a question, it was just a matter of fact. Like, what could there possibly be to cry about? The Emunah B'tachin, never seen anything like it. Even on the last Monday when I was there with Tuvi, Shneur, and we had to discuss some business matters, Shneur started off with, "My wife thinks I'm crazy for even having this discussion." Now you see where at least some of them Emunah B'tachin comes from. However, the only reason I'm okay with even speaking this way is because it's a school of Arichas Yamim to work on these things. And he wasn't just saying it because, this is the disclaimers you're supposed to give. This is what he really meant. Now, I heard the Sikha yesterday, and I wasn't planning, as I said, about getting into these things. I leave that for Rabbi Tal, but I couldn't resist. The Rebbe says about Chayei Sarah, the famous question, why is it called Chayei Sarah, this week's parsha, if it talks about Sarah's passing at the beginning? One of the answers that the Rebbe gives is that the way you judge what a person was able to accomplish while he was alive is what happens afterwards. Do people just forget about the person? Does life just go on? Or did they really have an impact that continues to live on? With Shneur, there was never cutting any corners when it came to Yiddishkeit. It wasn't only, if a Rav would say it's okay, that's good enough. No. If it could be done better, you do it better. And sometimes that comes out not just in the big things, like the Shul, and Sefer Torah, and the Tanya that was printed, and Tanyad Gemach that was started, and all these things, but sometimes it's the little things where you really feel sometimes that there's an impact. Last week, I was in California at the warehouse, and Shmuel, the warehouse manager, he says, "Moshe, Thanksgiving's coming. We like to give all the non-Jewish workers turkeys for Thanksgiving. What type of turkeys are we giving?" So I said, I remember from last year that we were speaking about what to do, and Shneur said they have to be kosher turkeys, even if they're more expensive. So obviously we're doing kosher turkeys. It's not a halachic shaila. It's not a question if you could find it of that says it's okay if you do it this way, that way, gift cards, whatever. It's kosher turkeys. That's it. He called me back. I was speaking to him a few days ago, and he says, it's not just that the kosher turkeys are 4 times the price. They don't even like the kosher turkeys. They have hair on them. They're not as clean. There's other issues. Shneur said kosher turkeys is kosher turkeys. Sometimes it's the little small things. Clearly, his hashpah continues to live on in all of us, and Mitzvah will continue to live on, and we'll be zeichet to see him very soon with all the chassidim, together with the Rebbe and with the Gula HaMitzvah Shleima.
There's much that I could say about Shneur that hasn't already been said, but I'll say it again anyway. Shneur was a superhuman being. He was a philanthropist, he was a great father, a great husband, and a tremendous friend. If I had to describe him, I would probably use the word unassuming, because he was never interested in being in the limelight, he was never interested in showing off, and he never tried to. Never. I know Shneur since we were very little boys. We were in school together, we were in the same class together, we were chavrusas, we were kugelach partners, we would play kugelach every single day. And I can't think of a time, and I've been trying, I cannot think of a time where I ever heard him raise his voice or be in a bad mood or lash out on anyone. He was always edel, kind, and sweet. Many people know that Shneur and I decided to give out pairs of tefillin to business owners, and I want to play a short clip, I hope you could hear it, of part of that conversation.
I'm happy if it's in my name for Shleima, but not as part of the name of the campaign. The name doesn't matter that much as long as the message gets out and people start wrapping our work. That's the key here.
At the end of the day, the campaign, as much as it was my intention for it to be as a refuah shlema for Shneur, it was his goal and his intention to get people to put on tefillin, to start rapping, as he said, to use his own words, and actually do mivtzayim and be part of the Rebbe's army.
On September 16th of this year, I went to visit Shneur in the hospital. After spending some time there, Shneur asked what time it was, and seeing that it was getting late, he asked if I can assist him with putting on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. And mind you, this was after he had just asked the nurse for some morphine for the pain. And when the nurse asked him if he can give her a 1 to 10 on the pain, Shneur, as was not one to complain, told her it was a 4 or a 5, and that was probably an 11 or 12. We then got into a conversation about learning, and I told Shneur that I had been thinking of learning, going and learning every day a little bit. And Shneur was like, what are you waiting for? Just go and do it. And the next morning, I went in the morning to Kollel and learned for a little bit. And I've been keeping it up pretty much every day since.
I met Shneur through our shul, Crown Heights shul. I grew up out of town, so I didn't know Shneur growing up in Alter Yeshiva or Crown Heights. However, we met Bashgacha Pratis. It happened to be that we ended up sitting at the same table for many years, for maybe 10 years, maybe more. And we connected, we enjoyed each other's company, and we became friends. And what I appreciated most about Shneur was when we come to shul on Shabbos, you try to tap into a moment that sometimes is fleeting during the week of focusing and davening and learning. And whenever I would sit down and daven, I would look to my left or right, and Shneur was davening and was learning. We discussed a sikha that we came across during the week that we appreciated and we share with each other. And Shneur was somebody that helped me tap into the moment of focusing and connecting in shul like one should. And from my understanding, Shneur did that every day of the week.
Shneur, we miss you, and we hope to see you very soon. Make a shturm up there, and help bring Mashiach, take of me ad mamish, so we could be together again. We love you, miss you.
So we heard from some of Shneur's friends. There are many that have lots of stories, and he valued his friendships, and he valued every one of you. And I could tell you, thank you for being his friend. You had a valued friend there, but you meant a lot to him, each one of you. You heard from his partners. His partners talked about the business. They talked about his initiatives of all the miftzayim he would do at work. But what they didn't tell you, that they were more than just partners. They were friends. They were friends, belev v'nefesh. When they were called to give something or do something or help with any time during these 2 years of Shneur, they were there, whatever you need, whatever you need, whatever you need. Besides Moshe doing all the research and coming up with all the different theories and all the stuff and chewing my ear off till wee hours in the morning, there wasn't anything I couldn't ask them, and they were anything for Shneur. They were dear friends of Shneur's and partners, but I think friends first. Yasher koyach. So Shneur cared about his friends, but like you heard, he cared about limud haTorah. He encouraged other people to learn. He encouraged people to learn Torah and to make kviyasitim. He learned with people on JNet. He did different things to encourage learning Torah. The Torah Shneur is writing with his friends' help, will be promoting limud haTorah by being mechanech children as it's being written, going through local schools to be mechanech children. So not only are you writing a Sefer Torah for Shneur, the emes of Torah, to be everlasting and help his neshama, but also continuing his vision with chinuch. One of the things I heard just 2 days before Shneur passed away, his partners came into him, and they had many things to talk about. I'm sure you guys remember. But Shneur didn't talk about business. He didn't talk about finances. He didn't talk about anything. He says, what are we doing more? What are we as a company going to do more giving of tzedakah? And him and his partners, which they always on the forefront, but that's what they live for. Their business, Shneur's business, was a form of helping others, being a mechanech children, things they care about, the chinuch of children, the Rebbes and Yanim. How do we do more? How do we do more? And let me tell you, he has the right partners to do it. They're not stopping. So in this Limud Torah concept and friendship concept, this is Shneur's shul. Shneur davens here. Shneur comes with his children here. His children don't want to go anywhere else but to this shul. This is where his friends' shul are. I would like to call the Gabbai, Binyamin Levin, to come up and say a few words. Besides the maintenance man, the president, the vice president, and all the other things.
So firstly, the true Gabbai is Yossi Merichik, so we should all just be clear about that. I'm going to make this brief and to the point. It's hard to talk about Shneur in the past tense. He was and is a dear friend to so many of us and an integral part of our shul since its inception. Shneur was a man of action and very few words. He didn't flaunt his successes and didn't demand honor of any sort. He was happy to have a quiet spot at the shul table so he can learn, daven, and farbring amongst friends, while ensuring his children, who he loved boundlessly, were cared for and given an incredible chinuch. His minhag of purchasing Chassan Torah was something he cherished, and he merited to enjoy even on his last Simchas Torah b'chaim chayus b'al madein. A few days before his untimely passing, what a Simchas Torah was as we celebrated with bittersweet joy, hoping for a miracle, but realizing this may be his last aliyah at the Torah with us. Shneur was one of a kind. He helped, and helped more, and never needed to be recognized. Yet, in his absence, we feel it's only appropriate to give him the recognition he so deserved so that his legacy of kindness, purity, his kashrus, and Yiras Shamayim carries on with each and every one of us. With this in mind, and with the blessings of Shneur's entire family, the shul board, along with the shul members, have unanimously decided to rename our shul Beis Shneur in his beloved memory, and we hope that his wife Dvara Leah and their beautiful children will continue to call our shul, their shul, home. Thank you.
Our highlight, Rabbi Shes Taub, is about to start speaking. However, before that, wow, Beis Shneur. Real friends. Shneur wants action. So now Beis Shneur has to become Beis Shneur, doing action. Let's start the agenda of the next board meeting. How are we doing action in Shneur's name? You guys rock. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. Shneur just wasn't a family man. He wasn't just a good friend, a good business partner, a Yiras Shamayim. All his business dealings were honest, but he was always also into Limud HaTorah. Shneur had made a hachlata to learn Torah with a chavrusa, and boy, did that hachlata continue. I would like to call up his friend and his chavrusa, Noach Weinstein, to say a few words.
Thank you, Yossi. We've been hearing a bunch of stories tonight how Shneur was a Goimel Chassid. He was very kind to everybody that he met and that he dealt with. I just want to share one story, one personal story for me. It was that about 10 years ago on Simchas Torah, we made a chlata to learn, and we learned basically every Sunday. For that when we started to learn, I asked Shneur one favor. I said, Shneur, I have a problem speaking, I have a stutter, and I would ask, if you don't mind, if I say the whole time, because I want to get out of myself and get better at speaking. And for all of our chevra who know, every Tuesday night we have a sicha share, and every time that it came to my turn, I skipped myself because I was uncomfortable speaking. And with Shneur sitting there, being so patient and kind, I have, Baruch Hashem, come a long way speaking, and it really started all with him. So that was one very nice thing. But my focal connection to Shneur as a friend was learning Torah with him and being inspired to have tachan. And our Seder was very, we used to learn every Sunday, but then after he got ill, we had a Seder where we would learn a sicha or a mimer, and then we would talk for the next half hour, 45 minutes. And to me, it was always an inspiration to see how he pushed himself to learn, whether he was very tired and exhausted and wiped out, or he didn't have his appetite. He was shus, and it was very tough for him. And to watch somebody, I push himself like that, I find it very apropos that his last Yom Tov for now was Simchas Torah, because Simchas Torah was really what Shneur was all about. Shneur was about learning Torah, pushing others to learn Torah, and Simcha is the idea of tachan. Bitachon is when somebody doesn't have any fear and he's not anxious, then he could really be b'simcha. And so you have these two ideas of simcha, simchas Torah, of simcha and Torah together. Shneur always bought in shul, like Moshe mentioned before, Binyamin mentioned before, chasen Torah, and the Torah was very dear to him. With regards to bitachon, on the Thursday of Chol HaMoed, I came to visit him, and so I wasn't sure, what he's up to. So I came upstairs and I asked him, Shneur, are you up to learning? So he said, yeah, let's go get a sefer. So I went downstairs, and then we learned for 15, 20 minutes. And then after we were talking of the idea of having bitachon of afilu menachas cherav al tzavarai, that even when someone is in a very tough position and dire straits, that he should still have bitachon. And then when I came back the day after Simchas Torah to learn again, the same sequence happened. I came upstairs, I wasn't sure if he was up to learning, and I asked him, Shneur, are you up to learning? He said yes. And then we learned together. And then I said, Shneur, do you want to talk now? Yossi, if you remember, you were in the room with us. So Shneur thinks about it for 30 seconds, and he looks up, and he starts to sing, Allah Sela, Hach, Hach. And then at that point, I knew that he was in full bitachon mode, and it was very inspiring to see. And then for the next 45 minutes, Yossi and myself sang with him. Gunim. We know that Shneur is a very unassuming person, and he and Hatznelach Simulkecha was his way. The only way Shneur would allow us to come here and talk about him is if he knew that it would lead to inspire other people to do stuff. To hear about himself, that was never his thing. So we all have to take this moment and take this inspiration to learn from Shneur, and Amir Hashem, Hikitzu, Vranu, Sheikhne Afar, and when we should experience the coming of Mashiach now.
Yasher Koyach Noach. Hashem gave us a bracha in our family that we're three boys. Shneur, Morty, and myself. I could not have got through these past 2 years without my brother Morty. Morty was there to help Shneur every step of the way and was there to help me, both physically and emotionally, sometimes early, sometimes late, to the wee hours of the morning. Morty, I appreciate every minute you spent with me during that time, and I know Shneur does too. I love you. Please come up and share a few words.
In the Hayom Yom of Chav Zayin Tishrei, the day Shneur returned his neshama, the Rebbe writes, I had to read this Hayom Yom because you'll hear it and it's amazing. Torah and mitzvahs surround a person's life from the day he is born until the end of his stay on this earth. Torah and mitzvahs place a person in a place of light with healthy intelligence and with acquisition of good character traits and proper upright conduct, not only between man and God, but also between man and man. Because the person who conducts himself in accordance to Torah and the instruction and direction of our sages, lives a blessed life, lives a blessed life, a rich life, both materially and spiritually. I read that Hayom Yom, that really sums up Shneur. You know, the Baal Shem Tov told his Talmidim that when someone passes away, there's three legitimate responses we could have. Number one is tears. We grieve for mourning, for the loss. Number two is silence. We're quiet because there's nothing to say. And number three, we sing. So the Talmidim asked the Baal Shem Tov, we understand number 1 and 2. Makes sense. But what's 3? And the Baal Shem Tov said, we sing to continue the song of the person who passed away because his song was interrupted. Shneur, as you know, everything Yosef did, he's 6 years older than me. And well, it's debatable. That was me and Shneur's first debate we had of many. I said, I'm 3 years older than you. He said, no, you're not. That's where he was. He was very smart, and he always came up with a chap. So when he wasn't interested in respecting me, he figured out that I'm not really 3 years older. And that's, because he was born in Elul and I was born in Kislev, so it was part of the year that we weren't 3 years apart. And he made me remember that all the time. I try to protect Shneur all my life, as a kid, always, First of all, he was my first martial arts chavrusa. I learned a lot, exactly all about, what it means to, and he was very good because he was more of the quiet type and he just took a lot of it. But I figured I'll say it here by Shloshim. But I always try to protect him and look out for him in camps. I remember the first year we both went to camp together. Somehow, we both went to camp the same year together. I was 2 or 3 years old, debatable, but we both went to camp that same year together. And he didn't have a good time. He was like 8, and I was like 10 or 11, right? And he didn't have a good time. I was trying so hard to, but that was Shneur. So I always felt that I was like protecting him and looking out for him. Turns out, as adults, it changed. It took out, and it took time to realize that. But Shneur was looking out for me and protecting me most of my adult years. So, then came this Nisayan, and I tried even harder. We all tried. But ultimately, it was in the hands of the Eibishter. So the day Shneur passed away, somehow a farbrengen happened in his room. It wasn't arranged. It just fell together. My brother-in-law Yochanan was there and started my marim and siches and farbrengen, and we were singing, and it became really one big farbrengen, exactly how Shneur would want it. The whole family was gathered around his bed, and we were going from niggin to thing, and then my brother Yosef arranged that Chase Taub should show up. And I figured I'll say this because he's going to be speaking. And he came in the middle of this farbrengen. Yochanan was doing a great job, but Chase Taub, Shneur was very into him and followed him a lot, and it was a very nice thing. He showed up. And I don't know if he was shocked, but he was a little quiet for the first few minutes. And I think it was more like the last time he saw Shneur. Shneur was hosting a chayil farbrengen in his house, running the show, in charge. And that's how Shais Tal remembered him. And he came here, and he didn't see him since then, and he just saw Shneur. And it took him a few minutes to gather his words. Eventually, he started talking, and it was beautiful what he said. And it was mamish, exactly what we all wanted to hear and what Shneur had to hear at the time. In this process, we're all sitting around the bed, and my mother decided that she wants him to repeat himself. Could you say that again? I want to record it. I'm like, Ma, really? This is what's going on now? But he said, sure. And whatever it was, a few minutes, he did it again for a few minutes. And Shneur waited that entire time. And literally 60 seconds to 90 seconds after Shais Tal finished talking and left, he returned his neshama. But that just shows how we said in that Hayom Yom, if Torah encompasses your life, he waited, he was patient, it was Torah going on, he wasn't going anywhere. Days before the Shneur passed, he caught me and Yosef talking on the side. We were discussing something. And Shneur heard, and he didn't like what he heard. And he looks at me and my brother, and he says, Abisl b'tachin, let go and let God, these words. This is how he was, this is how he lived his life, and this is how he was till the last day. A mother could fly, or a person could fly throughout the entire world in a week, jet lag, to Israel, to Africa, to everywhere, and go from place to place to place to place, and hold a baby in their arms. And when you ask the baby, where have you been? Your mother's been all over the world. He goes, I don't know. I was in my mother's hands. I didn't go anywhere. I was just in my mother's hands. And that gave me comfort when realizing we're not in control. And Shneur was always in Hashem's hands, and he's still in Hashem's hands. The Baal Shem Tov also says that for 70, 80 years, with the famous song, "And Neshama wears in tears," just to do a favor for another, Begashmias or Beruchnias. What Shneur was able to do in his short 39 years, he was able to complete what it takes a regular person 70, 80, 90, or 100 years. And it says in Kabbalah, after a father passes away, a piece of his neshama gets implanted in each of his children. And he keeps protecting the children through that. So Shneur, to Shneur's kids, I want to conclude on behalf of the siblings, Shneur's friends, I'm here to tell the kids that you're going to keep your father's song going. We'll be there to assist you the entire way, because your tati's life will continue through you. And we're going to support and assist and continue and remind you the entire time all about your father and his song and all the song he sang. Take it from here.
So there are many, many more pillars of my brother Shneur's life. But if I have to tell you one pillar that he stood for, and he was steadfast, was the Rebbe's Inyanim. How could I help the Rebbe's Inyanim flourish? What could I do more? What could I do more for Chinuch? What could I do more for the Rebbe's Inyanim? His success he shared with others by helping people individually and continuing the Rebbe's Inyanim. We're going to see a short video followed by Reb Shei's Taub.
When people share things about people, you know it's true when everyone shares the same sentiments. And over here, since Shneur's passing, and even beforehand, we've heard of his Bal Chesed, Bal Tzedakah, about Kishrin, and in the manner in which he performed it, B'hatz Neleches Im Leikecha, did so in a humble and quiet demeanor. I know this firsthand when I went with Rabbi Hirsch and others to ask for tzedakah on behalf of people, that Shneur graciously said absolutely and followed through on that commitment. And after Shneur passed away, I posted it on the New Jersey Shloshim WhatsApp group, and I received responses both publicly and privately from people. Shneur helped me with my child's wedding, Shneur helped me with the bar mitzvah, Shneur helped me with this. It's just the way he lived privately is the way he lived publicly.
Shneur was extremely kind, extremely gentle, and I saw this especially when it came to his giving tzedakah, how he was extremely sensitive. He recognized that fundraising could be challenging, and therefore he would make sure to give in a way where I would not feel uncomfortable, always responding, saying words like, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a partner in your shlichus." When he wasn't well, I called him up just to say hi, to talk with him, to see how he was doing. And at the end of the call, he asked me, "No, so you gonna ask for a donation?"
Most people will say, you know, when you go out in shlichus, now fundraise for your community, which is totally understood. But Shneur was the opposite, and he genuinely cared in a very sensitive way and continued supporting our Chabad house, even though he had a lot to support in Crown Heights. Even I'm sitting on outdoor furniture that Shneur donated to us.
One time, during a conversation with Shneur, he told me that he views his work in business not as an opportunity to be wealthy and to accumulate wealth, but rather is how he can help others. And every time that he had an opportunity to help somebody else, he was there. And I could attest to this, to the countless times that I was with him, that I was involved with him, that he was always thinking about how he can make a difference.
In the business itself, Shneur was a full-time shliach. If it meant encouraging and starting a minyan mincha on a daily basis and see that everybody comes, if it means together we started a shir every Thursday in Lekutei Siches, which continues. I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was Yutes Kislev, and I spoke to Shneur, Yutes Kislev, we got to do something. Whatever you say, we'll do. We got together in the Chabad house for a full Seudas Yom Tov in honor of Yutes Kislev, which took several hours. Again, everything on the business time.
Thinking of Shneur, one of the things that comes to mind is his idea of being proactive. I remember it was probably close to 10 years ago when Shneur and Tovia first came down to North Carolina to see the furniture market. And after spending a day over there, so Shneur told me that he felt that although that there's so many Yidden that come down over there wasn't a Jewish environment. There was no kosher food, there was no minyanim, there was nothing that can express anything of Yiddishkeit. And he was the one that really encouraged us that we should take out a showroom and we should offer kosher food.
My name is Rabbi Yudi Dukes.
director of JNet, the Jewish Learning Network. And I'm proud to say that I had the honor of knowing Shneur for many years now. For those of you who know me, I always ask people to volunteer for JNet, and Shneur learned with multiple people over the years. Actually, so did his wife and his parents, and besides, for always, being interested and trying to help out, another Yid just by sitting and learning with them on the phone. He also believed in the concept and was also a very valuable supporter to JNet as well.
It was really enjoyable and meaningful learning with him, because when you learned with him, he took everything seriously. Even if we were learning Chumash or Tanya and Geras HaKodesh, which talks about very lofty things, he took it seriously, and he was thinking, what does this mean to me? And it was probably the best learning of Chitas Rambam that I ever did.
What struck me about Shneur is, when we spent summers together in the Bongo colony, is that not only did he take an interest in my yeshiva, but he was really passionate about chinuch in general. He cared about chinuch, about students, and about the future of chinuch.
If someone was to ask me to define who is a mensch, I would say look at Shneur. He is truly a mensch, the epitome of a mensch. Honest, and truly a good person.
Let us all take from his qualities, from his unique qualities, which he stood for, the way he ran the business, the way he lived his life on a daily basis, and let's all apply to our own lives.
You've heard just a glimpse of who my brother was, but who he is today is here with us. Each of us within us, all his friends, family, Shneur is with us. Everything we do, we should do in his merit. So to all of us, let us live his dream. Let us love life. Love people, and cherish each other. Like Shneur has shown us how. And that will be his true legacy. The living should take to heart and take the messages that we're hearing today and live it in our daily lives. Without further ado, Rab Sheis Taub, who was there minutes before Shneur's Yitzias HaNeshama, talked Chassidus to Shneur before his Neshama left us physically, has come to a Shloshim to continue that Farbrengen and be with us again with Shneur here and share a few words. Rabbi Taub.
Good. All right. On the flyer it says keynote speech, but this is not a speech. First of all, it's late, so I'm not going to keep everyone. And second of all, I'm not here for speeches. I'm here to talk about Shneur. So I'm just going to talk about my personal experiences. In a way,
Let me start like this. How do I know Shneur? There's a group of guys, Taida Younger Light, who I started to learn with and fabreng with a bunch of years ago. Shlomo, I don't know how many. Shlomo will do the math, he'll get back to us. A number of years, Baruch Hashem. And so it was after Simchas Torah, a few days after Simchas Torah, I get a call from Yossi. And he says, do you know my brother Shneur? So I say, yeah, he's one of the guys, one of my, And I just want to explain what I mean by one of the guys. The way that I knew Shneur, definitely in this chevra, there are some characters. There are some colorful personalities, who I don't have to name because they have enough color already. But Baruch Hashem, we have a good time, and we always have a good time. But to me, Shneur was like one of the guys, and I now realize that that is exactly how he wanted it, and he went to great lengths to make sure that that's how he was seen and that was his role, and never to push himself forward and never to draw too much attention, just to be, and of course, he had a certain edelkeit you could see on his face. I mean, so that I knew, and he would ask a question from me. We'd learn a mimer, we'd get together at the oil on a Sunday morning, we'd learn a mimer, go into the oil, and then we'd fabreng, and he would ask a question here and there, but very soft-spoken, very, very low-key, one of the guys. And that's how I knew him from all of those fabrengens. The last time we fabreng together was a very different setting. It was more of an intimate setting. In his house. As I said, Yossi called me, he said, do you know my brother? Yeah, sure. He said, I think he would really appreciate a visit from you. He's learning a lot Shara B'tochen with you online, and he would appreciate a visit. I said, okay, I remember when I was talking to Yossi on the phone, I was at the oil, I'm in the Five Towns, so I daven at the oil almost every day, so I was either coming to davening or leaving davening. I said, I'll come to Crown Heights later in the afternoon, and I'll come by. So I remember also, I got to Crown Heights, and it was before daylight savings time, but still, it was closer to the end of the afternoon. So I texted Yossi. I said, "Is it okay? I go to 770 daven mincha first." He said, "Yeah, you can go daven mincha first." So I daven mincha first, and I got to the house at 6:12. How do I know 6:12? Because I looked at my texts today. At 6:12, I text, "I'm here." So yeah, I mean, Morty said he wasn't sure if I was surprised. I was surprised. I didn't know it was going to be like that. And Shneur did not talk. He couldn't speak. He was very weak at that point. But I want everybody to know, without any shadow of a doubt, he was completely lucid, completely conscious. He acknowledged when I came in. When I spoke, I could see in his eyes the same look that I would see when we would sit and we would learn together in other settings. He couldn't speak, but he was 100% present, and it was a fabrengen in every sense of the word. So it was a few days after Simchas Torah. It was the week of Parshas Bereishis. So what are you supposed to say? Nach Leben mit der Zeit. So Parsha von der Woche. So I said a word from Parshas Bereishis. Actually, it's from Hakriya V'Kedusha, which was a magazine that the Frierdiker Rebbe put out in the 40s during World War II. And like Morty mentioned, I ended up saying the word twice. I said it once, Then your mother asked me to repeat it, so I repeated it a second time. And so I'll tell you the Vort. The Frierdiker Rebbe says when you learn Chassidus, it changes the whole Torah. It's like a different Torah. And we can see this from the first 3 psukim of Torah, and from there you can go extrapolate how it changes everything else. What's the first 3 psukim of Torah? Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz, v'haaretz ha'yisasayu v'avayu v'cheshech al pnei ha'tahim, v'ruach Elokim marchefes al pnei ha'mayim, v'yem Elokim yihi oir v'yihi oir. Okay, that's the first 3 psukim. Chassidus comes in and it reads those words a little bit different. Bereshis, in the beginning. Not in the beginning of the world. Chassidus is personal. In the beginning of a person's life. Bereshis means each of us start off in life. Bara Elokim, the Eibishter gives us 2 drochim, 2 paths to follow in life. Eis hashamayim, a spiritual life. Eis haaretz, or material life. And a person has to choose. Does he want a spiritual life or does he want a material life? So what does he choose? V'haaretz. He chooses a material life, right? And what happens as a result of choosing a material life? Haisasayu v'avayu pust and vust. A chaotic, empty life. He says, oh, I don't like this. How do I get out? And he looks for the exit, v'cheshech, but it's dark. And where is he? Al pnei ha'tahim in Drerd. He's down low. V'ruach Elokim, and what's doing with his nefesh Elokis? Marachefes al pnei ha'mayim. It's flying out over the waters. He says, this is not a good situation. I want out. And there's only one more pasuk left. V'yem Elokim yihi oir v'yihi oir. How are we going to get the guy out of the situation? So here's how Hakriya V'Kedush explains it. Vayemer, not Vayemer Elokim, God hat gesagt. Vayemer, and the person says, Elokim, Gott schreit er. He screams out, God. And the minute he calls out for God, Yihi oir, there's light for him. Vayihi oir, and there's light for the world. So that was the Vort. And I was thinking about the fact, so anyways, I said the Vort, and then I decided I didn't want to make Shneur tired, and I told Yossi I'm going to leave, and I left. I saw Yechon Marozov. I was leaving. I said, I'll come back tomorrow. I meant it. I said, I'll come back tomorrow. And by the time I got to my car, I got a text from Yossi. Baruch Dayan Emes, I was just verbringing with the guy. I was just verbringing with the guy. Okay, he couldn't talk, but I'm telling you, he was 100% there. He was listening. He was reacting. He was mamish verbringing to the last second. He left the world in the middle of a verbringing. So I'm thinking to myself, to leave the world, it's got to be hashgacha pratis. What's the last dvar Torah that you hear right before you leave? It's got to be hashgacha pratis. It's got to be some connection. And then I realized, I don't know if there's a makar to say that there's a special connection between the last vort that a person hears right before they leave. But I know one thing is that when parents name a child at the beginning of the child's life, that's Baruch HaKadosh. The Arizal says that's Ruach HaKadosh. And Shneur's parents with Ruach HaKadosh named him Shneur, which means Shnei Oir, 2 lights. And the last thing we were verbringing about was Yihi Oir Vayihi Oir. There's light for him and there's light for others. And so I started thinking about this. This is mamish zum Zach, if you wanted to sum up who is this younger man, Yehi Oir, Vayehi Oir. There was light by him, and he made it light by others. By him was the light of Torah, Emunah, Betochen, Simcha. And by others, what was the light? See, a lot of people have Emunah, and then they want to prescribe that to you. They tell you, yeah, you should also have Emunah. Well, don't be frum af jenem's cheshbon. You want to have Emunah, that's good for yourself. For Yenim, for others, Shneur didn't tell them, no, it'll be fine. No, he took care of it. He took care of them. Begufei, b'mamoinei, b'nafshei. He wrote a check. He followed up. He took interest. Shnei Oir. By him there was light, and he made it light by others. But then I started thinking, the Rebbe spoke about the Shnei Oir. Shnei Oir, the way the Rebbe explained it about the Alter Rebbe, is two lights, Nigla and Nister, because the Alter Rebbe was Balatanya, he was also Bala Shulchan Aruch. So there's the Nigla and there's the Nister. And I realized that this is also Shnei Oir. The Nigla and the Nister, the revealed and the concealed. There's the Shneur that was revealed and known. Like I said, just one of the guys, which is exactly how he wanted it. He wanted to just blend in, one of the crowd, one of the guys. Didn't ask for any special attention. To the contrary, ran from it. That was the revealed. At the same time, there was the hidden. And some of this hiddenness started coming out after he passed away. I started hearing stories left and right. People calling me saying, did you know Shneur was involved in this thing? You know he was involved in this thing? Never with a name. Hidden. Totally hidden. Never with a name. Dafka not with a name. So I realized there's two Shneurs, which makes sense. Shnei Oir, of course, there should be two of him. The one that he showed us, and the one that we may never know about, but his maker knows. Yechanan said that there were two siyumim. They finished Mishnayos twice for him. And I said, of course they did. First of all, Torah itself is a double Torah, right? Because Torah starts with the mem, me'emosai, and it ends with the mem, sholim. And the open mem, the closed mem, again, revealed and hidden. So Torah is double, revealed and hidden. And each mem is 40. Shneur's kapitel is mem, 40. Like Morty mentioned, the Hayem Yem, that a neshama comes down to the world for 70, 80 years to do a favor for another Jew. So Shneur did 80 years worth, and he's only holding by kapitel mem. That's twice. 40 times 2 is 80. 2 mems. In other words, everything we know about him, there's a whole other Shneur that we know nothing about, and that's how he wanted it. Yehi Oir, Vayehi Oir. So here's what I'm thinking. V'achayitin al libai. Because Shneur is also Shneur Zalman. What did Yossi say? That it has to be action. Where's Yossi? Where is he? It has to be action. The Rebbe said Zalman is Asius Lizman. Lizman means into Elam Haza, which is time and space. Mokum and Zman. So it's not just enough the Inyan, Shnei Oir. It has to be Lizman, in action. So 2 lights. a light for yourself, Emunin, Betochen, Torah, the Rebbe's Inyonim, some type of a hachlata in your own hiskashrus, in your own outlook on life, maybe learning the Rebbe's Torah, and in a Shneur way, Lav Dafka has to be anything anybody knows about. And then another oir, the oir that we give others. Gemilas Chasadim, Tzedakah. 2 lights. I mean, that's basically Shneur, Betochen and Tzedakah. Betochen for myself, and Tzedakah for everybody else. No? So I don't know, everyone speak to your mashpia, you could figure out exactly how to implement it, but I think it would be fitting 2 hachlatas for somebody, for Shnei Oyer, 2 hachlatas, and it should be Zalman, Lizman, Maisa B'Poel, like the Rebbe wants it. But something for ourselves in Emunah and Betochen, and something for others in a kav of Gemilas Chasadim and Tzedakah. Morty talked about finishing somebody's song. We're not going to finish any song. We're going to continue the song. We're going to continue the Fabreng. And the last time I saw Shneur was in the middle of a Fabreng. And the next time I see him will be at the continuation of the Fabreng and at the big Fabreng and with Mashiach. But maybe we could sing a song about somebody who came to the world and with a very short amount of time only made it to his 40th year, age 39 in the 40th year, but lived a double life. Lived 70 or 80 years worth of chesed, maybe even more. So maybe this is corny, but I know the guys from the Crown Heights Shul, from Beis Shneur, will back me up here. And by the way, I was talking to Binyamin the other day, and I said, how did you guys get such a great name, Crown Heights Shul? It's like, that's the best name. He says, now I realize why we have that name. We always had a generic name. Because the name was reserved. So now everyone gets to know. As well as Shneur hit it, now everyone gets to know this is Beis Shneur, and it should be Shneur Zalman, Lizman, in Maisa B'Poel. Okay, guys, you help me out, back me up. A good old camp song. Ay, 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 I don't have a good voice, help me out. Ay, 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 ay. Love a fellow Jew, the same as you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just the same as you.
I know the hour is late, but the standing crowd, lots have gone home, but real friends and family are still here. Shneur really loved nigunim, singing, and chazanas. Shneur was about tefillah, and he enjoyed it very, very much. So for those of you that stayed for last, we have a very special treat for you. Shneur enjoyed when his brother-in-law, a chazan, would share in his with his chazanas to him, and he would want it regularly. So my brother-in-law, Shui Samuels, a chazan, Shui Samuels, who is the Rav and chazan in Howard Beach, Queens, is called up to entertain the Olam and Shneur with a piece of chazanas.
Well, where's Morty? You still here? Morty, you saved me tonight. Morty said before that the Baal Shem Tov said, continuation of the niggin. So I have an excuse. But really, this is for Shneur. And talking to Yossi, trying to figure out what do you sing on a night like tonight. So I figured we're talking about Shneur, devoted father, dedicated to all these good things, as you've heard tonight. We figured we'd sing a song that has a double meaning. Shneur as a father, and our Father in heaven. And I hear there's a beautiful choir here, so please help me out with this. Ata bisitu gora getrayer, dein Liebschaft zu uns ist doch ein Scheier, und noch mehr von dem sagt der heilige Baal Shem, als jeder Ried ist bei dir, Rabben Yochid. Gesessen seinen mit wie einer bei deinem Tisch, verschickte seinen mit in Galus in la Wüstenisch. Kommen mir deine Knellach, betten bei dir. Hayavinu avarachman rachem aleinu. Hay dein ben yachid ben nagdir gevalet atenu. Hay vilichtik hay vielik es is dein gewein. Hay wieder leb men nachamal dir zen. Ay, 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 ay. loy v'zech zeno eineinu b'shuv echol tzion hay ven v'shoin unser goyel Anton sein kroin hay bechol yoy machageloi mi verin goren nishmid bring uns Mashiach ben David und takem bald hay velin yidn kumen in beis migdash chod Hayadin Shabbos und Rosh Chodesh lishtach vois lefonecho Eis vet zayin veye nigla kevod Hashem alle Wellen dininim Ay zusammen kommen wollen wir sich briderlach zuschauen mit Avasachim in Yerushalayim mit Simcha und mit Freude I wissen wer die Welt genau Azein this is for Shneur Azein Azein I
There was no shortages of things that Shneur stood for in his life for us to pick today, numerous things that we could do in our lives. So may us each take a double achlata, like Rabbi Taub said. Let us take a double achlata in bitachin to show the Varalei and Shneur that we're with you. The bitachin is real. We're going to be zeicha to see Shneur again with us. The Guf Gashmi, the Kitziv, the Ranana Sheikh Neyafer. Dvaralea, we're all with you. We give you strength. Shneur gives you strength. You should have all the strength in the world to keep that bitachin. The beautiful children you and Shneur are going to continue to raise. You should have the blessings of the Eibishter and the easiness of Shneur with you all the time. Shneur, we love you. We'll always love you. We feel your love here today. Family and friends, we'll miss you physically, but we know you're with us every step. We love you. Thank you all for joining tonight. The Haskalah Sefer Torah has started earlier today. Those of you who did not write a letter in the Sefer Torah, the Sefer is still here, and he will continue the Haskalah.